Hi everyone, a massive warm welcome to today's altcoin Bible. In the full version, I will go into the Bitcoin collapse overnight back to 60,000 and maybe the reasons behind that, which I dived in this morning. If you're in our Discord groups and the VIP, the graduates, and also Mastermind, I posted there. I thought everyone should just maybe take a read and just see what my thoughts were versus keeping it sort of behind a paywall. It's just important to kind of ground yourself and again, step out to the bigger picture. We had a bi-weekly session last night with the masterminds, and it was incredibly grounding. We talked a lot about this stuff, that short-term volatility is to be expected all through the bull market. We're likely going to see pullbacks of 20, 30, sometimes more, not only in Bitcoin, but more likely in altcoins because of those hiccups that we might likely see with the macro being so volatile currently. I mean, we haven't seen in recent memory a macro environment this unsteady. And it's not a confident position to be in when you are in risk markets. We expect Bitcoin to behave like gold eventually, but it's just not there. It's not in that mature state yet. So we do have to take the punches when they come. I'm just expecting a fairly aggressive rebound here now that the dust has kind of settled with what's happening in the Middle East. Again, I won't go too much detail on that, but you can go into the Discord and have a read. Those are my thoughts. Again, on the longer version of the Altcoin Bible, if you're a newsletter subscriber, I'm going to go into the Bitcoin chart and talk a bit more about that. But let me share my three from today. Now, the plunge has already happened, so it's kind of like a fun and it's kind of the best and worst time to be doing this session. But let's dive in and have a look, because what I want to emphasize when we see volatility like we've seen overnight, you want to be looking at altcoin relative strength. What altcoins held up, one, incredibly well, and two, what ones have either held their ground or gained in that period of uncertainty and volatility that we had overnight. Now, SUI fits that bill. Against Bitcoin, held steady and it actually rallied. So if I just tuck on over to the Bitcoin chart, I won't stay for too long. But we can just see, I know that stacks Bitcoin. Excuse me, that chart doesn't look that great. But SUI Bitcoin, you can see the difference between SUI Bitcoin and stacks Bitcoin night and day. So SUI has held ground and if not rallied a little bit against Bitcoin, which means to me the strength in the USD chart should be relatively the same. Even though SUI did take a tumble, it held ground against Bitcoin and is holding that strength. Really, really important, because I've seen time and time again, when you have these moments, whatever's holding up the best, it's getting a strong passive bid. There's confidence in that asset and they should run the hardest when we do have that positive rebound. So let's just go back to SUI. I'm still holding SUI as in this session as a one to watch because I think it's really on. The strength is phenomenal. We've discussed it for a while here. I'm fully expecting SUI to go higher sooner rather than later. But again, we are at a bit of a very interesting point, let's say, in this chart. So SUI's facing off with its all-time high level at the top here. You can see it's not quite there. It's probably going to contend with it at about $2.12, the exact price. I won't bother looking it up there. But just looking at here, the main resistance area, barring, you can go to the exact dollar amount, but I think just the area up here is going to be saturated with sells as it runs into that. So that's my thinking there. I do think that this squiggle might get adhered to and it will run into that all-time high area, and we'll just see how it reacts. What concerns me though currently with this chart, again, why it's my one to watch, it's not all just bull only and up and look at the strength. I'm seeing a substantial bearish divergence develop. So price is moving upwards in this channel. We've got these higher peaks developing, but we're seeing the momentum drop away. Now, what SUI is effectively doing, though, it's absorbing all the punches, it's holding its ground, it's sort of the momentum's cooling off back to where I wanted it to be, around that 70 mark. Stoke RSI is almost resetting for a move higher again. So you could be looking at it two ways. You could be like, well, it's maintaining its position, the bearish divergence is not playing out. So SUI's just that strong, it doesn't matter, and it's going much, much higher. So it's definitely my one to watch. Again, guys, I don't know which way this is going to break, so you just have to wait till either you get the breakout confirmation, retest the support above and go really aggressive there, or you can kind of risk off here or hold position. It's entirely up to you. So it's one to watch for me. But if I'm looking at this longer term, you see the fundamentals of SUI and you see the strength of the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. It's a really hard position to move on and take it out of your portfolio. So yeah, definitely one to watch. You can see both sides of the argument there. All-time highs, fairly soon, but also bearish divergence. So we could come back down and retest some of this liquidity a little bit lower. But I do think because of the strength, the pullbacks are going to be shallower, and it's going to just leave people wanting. And I can see a major correction once we get above this level. But still, up and then down is always a good way of looking at it. Now, cherry ripe for this week is POPCAT again. I'm going to have POPCAT here until we see some crazy action to the upside. But I'm trying to look at things from a view that I want to see obviously strength, but I also want to see an opportunity before it actually rips. So today, POPCAT is the cherry ripe because it is contending with all-time highs. It got above a few times, wick, but just could not close above there in any real sense. I really want to see a massive green candle, through here, closes nice, big and bodied, and it sort of closes above all these wicks. So something like that and just rips right through. And I want to see volume come through. Right now we're seeing a volume declining. So either we're building towards that big moment or we've petered out here and then we're going to fall over. But so far the higher lows are very obvious here. In fact, it's trying to print this, flag or triangle up here where we could see that expansion. So for me, all-time high area, consolidating at resistance, all very bullish. RSI has reset down at the 60 mark, starting to slope up. Stoke RSI is about to cross over. So a lot of things I like about POPCAT, and its position with a lower market cap and as well with meme power of late, it's been very notable. So if Bitcoin rallies, I think POPCAT will do the same, and then we might see the end of this level, to the end of time, who knows? All right, Illuvium is my danger zone this week. It was actually really interesting to find a chart that looked a little bit bad. After a plunge, generally, when I do this session, the plunge has already happened. We get the rebound in the morning, and then we sort of see where things sit. And right now, Illuvium just hasn't had that rebound that a lot of these altcoins have had. It, at least regained some of the position that it lost. The problem with Illuvium here is it's back down to the lows. And what we're seeing here is it's mirroring the RSI essentially. And the RSI has been gaining a lot of strength, but price really hasn't. Price really hasn't been able to get rid of this support level. And until we do, we are just making lower highs. You can see that here, lower high, lower high. I'm expecting potentially it to rally up here and then we could have a rollover. But just in general, this is a very precarious position for it to be in under this horizontal that I have here. Can't even close above it. If it can, then maybe we're coming up to this horizontal. But if it starts to linger here, then I'd get a little bit worried for Illuvium that it's going lower. So that's my danger zone today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I'd be more than happy to cover them. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye-bye.